Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal government obtains order of court to proscribe the Islamic movement in Nigeria, otherwise known as Shiites, as a terrorist group following recent violence and deadly protests by the group in Abuja. IMN kicks against court order allowing its prescription, insists that Shiite members are victims of brutality and not terrorists, as human rights lawyer Femi Falana describes order as illegal and immoral. Vice President YEMI OSINBAJO and President of Rwanda Paul Kagame explained their government strategies in driving growth at the Tony Elumelu Foundation Forum in Abuja. And 8 senior military officers to be charged in Sudan with crimes against humanity over alleged role in the killings of protesters on June the 3rd. For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website. It's channelstv.com. Go to youtube.com/channelsweb to view the videos of all our shows. The Controller General of the Nigerian High Commission in Johannesburg, South Africa, Mr. Godwin Adama, has petitioned the South African police authorities on the attack against a Nigerian by 2 South African policemen. The Nigerian mission, which is pressing for a case against brutality of the policemen who were seen on video beating Mr. Faniran, says the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, which deals with cases involving South African police officers, has commenced work on the matter. This move to get justice for Mr. Faniran was confirmed by the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erowa. She says the Controller General has also met with Mr. Faniran, who becomes the latest victim of the South African policeman's attack on Nigerians. She also confirmed that 8 South African policemen are already on trial for their involvement in maltreatment of Nigerians in the country, promising to follow up on this case and others involving attacks against Nigerians in South Africa. It's day 2 of the Tony Elumelu Foundation Forum holding in the nation's capital, Abuja, and one consensus by African leaders and other participants at the event today is that the development of entrepreneurship in the continent remains a priority. The African leaders at the forum include the President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, the Prime Minister of Uganda, amongst others. The Vice President, Professor YEMI OSINBAJO, called for an enabling environment that will allow small businesses to thrive in Africa.
And so,
described by many as the man who has confidence and faith in the youths of Africa, Mr. Tony Elumelu joins other panelists on stage amid cheers and applause. It's the second day of the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Forum, and in attendance are Vice President YEMI OSINBAJO, presidents and first ladies from different African countries, heads and representatives of local and international agencies and organizations.
Let me use the opportunity.
First to speak is the president of the African Development Bank.
What I want to propose today is this: that it's time for African leaders, African governments, to begin to shift from youth empowerment to youth investment. I'm happy.
The host, Mr. Tony Elumelu, speaks on partnerships aimed at expanding the reach of the foundation to accommodate more African youths.
The Afrexim, our Export-Import Bank, is also positioning to support, has signed our agreement with the Tony Elumelu Foundation to support, to help scale up the entrepreneurs who are supported.
After that session, which lasted about an hour, it is time for the president.
Project looks for 3 things.
As members of the panel of presidents and heads of state in Africa take their seats, they each highlight how their countries are supporting entrepreneurship.
Beginning with railways, we have, as you know, started the Lagos-Kano Railway because we very strongly believe that you must connect the country and you must connect all of the economic points of the country.
So we had to find ways of making sure that Rwandans understand that they have to be there for themselves. And that goes for other Africans, I'm sure.
government of Uganda has established a women entrepreneurship scheme, and that scheme has further augmented the good work that women are doing.
There are questions to which answers are provided, all pointing to the need for government to provide the enabling environment and show the will to empower entrepreneurs, which in turn will improve the economy and reduce unemployment rate.
Still at that forum in the nation's capital, Abuja, artist Ayo Balogun, popularly known as Wizkid, has been unveiled as the UBA brand ambassador. The group managing director of UBA, Mr. Kennedy Uzoka, made the announcement during the segment tagged Afropop Meets High Finance. While Wizkid used the event to talk about the challenges and growth in Nigeria's music industry, the UBA GMD says the bank is ready to do more for small and medium enterprises, especially in the African creative space.
And I try as much as possible.
The creative industry has done excellently well because if you travel the world, if you go to many malls and supermarkets, you hear Wizkid's music and his fellow colleagues. So they've been accepted. So all we need to do is to create a platform for the Wizkids of this world and the upcoming Wizkids to blossom. So UBA is in the forefront of this, and we have, right from the board to executive management, have decided that this is an area because UBA has been very successful in the corporate and middle market. But we are now in this lower market where you find the medium and small-scale enterprises.
One of the biggest challenges we face is piracy. You know, our work is being pirated. We're not getting what we are supposed to get from actually album sales, which a lot of international artists make money off. You know, that's one of our biggest problems. And I would say from like 5-7 years up until now, the entertainment industry has been able to grow immensely just by itself, without no government help, without no anything. It's just by itself, and a group of young people that are just, you know, talented and focused and have a vision. So I feel like partnership like this within UBA and Starboy will also like help other like corporate brands to also look into the entertainment industry.
Today, I want to unveil Mr. Ayodele Balogun, aka Wizkid, as UBA brand ambassador.
Hey, wow.
The Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, and the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT, have recently taken center stage in the fight against corruption by the current government. But analysts have questioned how they are playing their roles in the crusade and have called for a reform of the act establishing the bodies. The latest call is coming from a senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor YEMI Akinseye George, who believes that the structure of the Bureau makes it a powerful tool for preventing abuse of office, but the system is currently deficient. He was speaking at a forum in Abuja on the reform of the Criminal and Penal Code and the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act.
We are advocating a structure that will make the CCT independent, that will make the CCT less susceptible to being used as an instrument of interfering with the rule of law and separation of powers. It's such a powerful body. It's such an important body. So its independence must be guaranteed. That is one of the principles that informed the proposals that we have developed at the center. For example, one of the ideas we are pushing out is that when judges are involved, the Code of Conduct Bureau, having conducted its investigation, should submit the proposals to the Code of Conduct to the NJC when serving judges are involved. And then the NJC has a maximum of 60 days to act on it. If the NJC does not act on those proposals in 60 days, the Code of Conduct can proceed. This is a way to ensure that the judiciary is not treated as just an appendage of the executive or of any other arm of government, so that the mechanisms of the law are not used to frustrate the constitutional provisions on the independence of the judiciary. So we are growing as a democracy. This is not an attempt to criticize anyone, but we have learned from the recent experience. And we need to strengthen our system for the protection of democracy, which exists for the protection of all of us.
The body of kingmakers of Owo Kingdom in Owo local government area of Ondo State has approved the choice of Prince Ajibade Ogunwoye as the elected king of the town. The kingmakers agreed with the decision of the senior princes of the royal family who voted for Prince Ogunwoye as the new Olowo of Owo. Out of 15 princes, 14 cast their votes in his favor.
The new Olowo-elect, Prince Ajibade Gbadegesin Ogunwoye, arriving at the palace of the Olowo of Owo to be formally presented to kingmakers of Owo Kingdom for affirmation of his selection process, a requirement of the chieftaincy declaration before the commencement of installation rites. Also present here are local government officials as well as security agencies.
We, the kingmakers, hereby confirm that we are satisfied.
Speaking on behalf of the kingmakers, Chief Olanrewaju Famakiwa explains the process from selection to installation.
The senior Molowo, what they have done is to have interviewed 18 candidates, and one of them emerged, which is Prince Ajibade Gbadegesin Ogunwoye.
The officials and elders then signed documents to show their approval of the selection. The Olowo-elect Prince Ajibade Ogunwoye pledges to work for the continuous peace and development of the kingdom.
This is an era where the development of the kingdom is paramount. The engagement of our youth is central, and the preservation and promotion of our culture is equally of utmost importance.
Prince Ogunwoye, presently a permanent secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service, emerged as Olowo-elect with 14 out of the 15 votes cast by the senior Omolowos on July the 12th to beat 16 other contestants.
When the news at 10 returns, President of the African Development Bank and President of the Democratic Republic of Congo lead campaign for stronger economic ties amongst African countries. That's on Business News. Join us again.